Hey guys, Doug the Retirement Guy. We got a review of the Yield Max Ultima Ultra Option Income Strategy, better known as ULTY. A lot of you have been asking about this. You see it in our weekly performance paying stocks, and everyone's been talking UTL. Oh, I love it, or I hate it, or I love it, I hate it. So let's really get into it because I want to give you some real good insight on this stock and this ETF to see really where does it stand. Right now, the dividend yield, they're advertising 79.9%. So first off, what is ULTY? ULT is actively managed ETF, and it's aggressively going for not monthly, but weekly income from a portfolio of covered call strategies in each on the US listed securities. Okay. So really, what is it? They have chosen select different stocks that they're going to buy into, sell options from to generate the big income. They're bouncing from different securities across the board. They have no 30-day SEC yield, and they're paying an expense fee of 0.99%. So let's take a look at the holdings that they actually have, and you'll see immediately 700,000 shares of Applied Digital Corp. Okay, this is one of them, and everything you see below this is where they're starting to get into is their call options that they're putting out there. They also have APP Love Corp, and then they have the Space Mobile AST is another, basically 475,000 shares, 30,000 shares. So they got some really unique companies that they're putting this stuff into. So the real question is, why do we want to be into UTLY? Well, of course, it's at 79.9% return. Now you'll see a lot of people brag and talk about, oh, I'm getting 140% or I'm getting 99%. The number bounces all based off of what the stock price has been. Okay. You get enhanced exposure into companies that you probably have never heard of currently, like Applied Digital. They're heavily aggressively putting their stuff into Applied Digital. And they're also paying a weekly dividend, which on this channel we love because you get your week at the end of money at the end of the week, and you can use it for like a regular paycheck, regular cash out, or reinvest it in the drip system. So let's take a look at what ULTY has done in 1 year. And this thing's going to show you that 1 year to date, they're negative 58.03%. Year to date, they're down 31%. 6 months, they're down 38%. And in the past month, did they recover at all? Well, basically, I'll say yes. They've added 2.49 of positive market gain. I show you here, and you can see in the different arrows that this thing has been dropping since late August. Okay, so I can't sit here and say we had the March madness or we had the April tariff issues. This thing has just slowly dropped and dropped and dropped and dropped. And you can see now it's virtually flatlined. Between the two last red arrows, you will see the April drop off to the recovery to where it's at today has really been just a flat line. Okay, and we say it's been up 2.49% for that period. Now, this fund started basically just a little over a year ago in February. So it's nothing spectacular, but we think we found the bottom. So when we take a look now at the past 30 days, you look at this, it started off about $6 a stock. Then it got back down to that $6 price range just a few days later. And then again, bounces right back up to where we're at 617 currently. The 52-week average on this stock is $9.39. The trailing low, which is basically the lowest that this thing really gets, is $5.48. So what's funny is once you know your rock bottom and you know a good average top, you can look in the middle and say, where are we at and how do we want to play? So when we look at this line across the board, you can see it never gets above and I'll say never, it slightly gets above on one time of over 630, but it's always below 630. And again, rock bottom, $6. So you can see how we come up with this trailing 548 rock bottom, 939 average. Now let's take a look at the dividend charts. Now that we take the dividend charts, we always say we go back as far as we can, up to 10 years. It is stretched out because you can see this fund's not over a year and a half old. But they were paying out monthly dividends, and that's why you see this thing up to $1 and so on. But where we put it into is when it moved to the weekly pay, and it went down to basically about 9 cents a time, 9 cents a week. So the numbers are not as strong as people brag and talk about because you're only getting 9 cents per share per week. Now, when you take a look at the price of the share, $6, percentage wise, yeah, that's outrageous. That's huge. These are some big numbers. But realistically, you have to look at this. You have to have a ton of shares because you're only getting 9 cents a share. Now, my warning sign to you right off the bat when it comes to dividends, and this is where a lot of people are again, they're looking at crazy returns and they think this is the new miracle thing. But this is the warning sign that tells me we're in trouble with ULTY. The most recent distribution on 5/2 of 2025 contains 100% return of capital and 0% of income. This comes directly from YieldMax's website on ULTY. Now, if you're an organization, would you be bragging about this? Would you be telling everybody up to this? Or would you keep it a 30-day late, always behind the 8 ball? And that's what they're doing. This is on May 2nd, and we are in June 9th. And they're announcing that the 5/2 payment was 100% capital. So if you're taking and paying your dividends out 100% out of your capital, which is ROC, return of capital, if you're taking 100% of that, how long can you actually last to continue to pay dividends if you continue to return capital? So when people are bragging again, you'll see different YouTube channels out there. They're bragging like crazy at ULTYs, where you want to put your money, What's happening is they're draining the fund, okay, because they're constantly returning your capital. And this is what we're putting on our radar is what is the value and what is the capital of ULTY? How long can you drain it? So we put $10,000 into this in our computer analysis because it was way too early for us to put our actual money into this. But on 6/10, you would have bought at $14.70. You would have bought 680 shares. As of 6/6, the price got down to $6.17. So you basically have lost 58% of your stock value. Now, I don't care who you are out there. If you've lost 58%, you got nothing left over there. You don't have much time left to continue on. Now, this thing did pay $8.98 in total dividends over that period because a lot of this was done with weekly. Some of it was done monthly. We put it all together. How much did you actually pay over that 1 year period? And that gave you a 61% return on your money. So now everyone can brag. Yeah, I'm getting 61% dividends. But it's like I went to Vegas and I won. Well, how much did it cost you? How much did you lose to win one hand of blackjack? So realistically, over the past 12 months, you would have, including dividends, you would have only made a 3% return on your money. So when I sit and talk to people and they tell me how great they're doing on ULTY, I seriously ask them, what's your total return? Where are you guys really sitting at? And this is not the fund that looks so great, handy dandy, everything's fine. Now, with all the negatives out of the way, if you get involved now and start buying at the current low pricing, what's going to happen? And this is where we show you here. Is ULT a time to buy? Personally, we say yes. Okay, we say yes because you have to stay under that $6.30 mark. You can see the blue line. That's the 630. Below that, you are in a safer zone. And I'm going to say safer, not safe, safer. And what I mean by that is if you're buying at $6.17, the 52-week yield or average is $9. Well, we got a little bit of gain that we can go to before we even get to the average price. Our trailing low of $5.48, we have basically about a 75 to 80 cent play back and forth. So if you're buying at 617, you're going to get a decent return on your value. We don't see that price changing very much. We believe it's kind of flat. But again, the concern that I have is capital erosion, the ROC again, the return of the capital. How much of this money are they going to do? What happens in those scenarios is real simple. They will put out and offer everybody a cheap price on the stock to just generate big cash flow, or they'll turn around and do a reverse split. The reverse split will probably be the bigger one I expect to see, that this thing, all of a sudden, they're getting stocks back so they can resell them and we move forward. So I'm very, very cautious on this. When I say a time to buy, yes, I'm very, very cautious. Huge asterisk so you guys can understand that this is not a piece that you really just jump into with everything you got. I would never be more than 5% of my assets into this fund in any way, shape, or form. So is ULTY good for a retirement account? My answer to you is going to be no. Now, I know a lot of people are going to be sending down a lot of messages about this one. A 61% return over the past 12 months of dividends, it definitely looks good. But when you take in your NAV erosion and the return rate of negative 58% over the last 12 months, you're not gaining anything. You're gaining a 3% return. It's just a killer to me. If you buy in the target range, can definitely reduce that. I get all that. You can reduce it and keep more of that 61%. But the killer sign to me right now is the sign that they put on their own website as their most recent distribution on 5/2. It was 100% return of capital. They wouldn't put that out there if it wasn't important. They're putting it out there to tell people ahead of time, warning sign, we're not making any money on income. We had to return 100% capital. We don't want to make it look like we didn't pay a dividend, but we took capital out of our pocket to pay you. That's my warning sign stating it's time to exit ULTY and get out and stay out. So even though I told you, is it time to buy? Yes. If you want to get into this game, if you want to try to nab some quick dividend side of it, I understand that. But remember, I'm telling you all the different killer signs that I see coming from this, and this one is the big one. So guys, this is what we tell you. We put it as a hold. I really wanted to put it as a sell, but as everyone will tell me, I would get shot tomorrow because they all keep buying it off of the 61% return. And they're all saying the great ULTY. But if someone's telling you that you're going to get positives, this is a great account, I want you to first start off this. How can you last if you return 100% of the capital? Guys, this is Doug, the retirement guy. I hope you like what we're doing. Give us a thumbs up if you like that. I know you guys are liking it because you've been subscribing left and right. But if you're not part of the group, you're not part of the community, hit that subscribe button. It doesn't cost you anything. Join us. And also, hey, leave a comment, anything you got out there. Just to tell you, we have been awarded. You can be a member of our YouTube community now and get videos ahead of time. And we're starting to put a lot of them out there so you guys could see it all before anything happens. Everything's helping the channel grow, and I hope this video will help you grow your pocketbook. And we'll catch you next time.